What is holding you back from all that the Lord has for you? Did you know that there is a time and a season for everything under the sun? And that includes your calling and your purpose. Hello, everyone. My name is Pamela Cross, and I'm the host of this podcast episode, Coffee with Pam podcast. And I just thank you so much for joining me on this adventure. I'm really excited to share what is literally stirring on my heart, like for a while now, but especially this last week and these last few days. And it's quite incredible when I look back and just see so many pieces of what the Lord has been placing in my lives, kind of like a puzzle piece, pieces to a puzzle, or realizing, or that my eyes are just being opened to these things. And my hope is that this episode will stir your heart and just encourage you in your faith, and encourage you that if you think that you can't hear from God, if you feel like you have never heard his voice, I'm telling you, God is a living God. He is so faithful. He is always speaking. He doesn't just leave us in the dust. He doesn't leave us to, wonder and to, try to figure out on our own. He's always speaking to his children. Sometimes it's in scripture, sometimes it's through a song or through a sermon that you hear at church. Other times it can be to you personally, and it can be through objects. And I know that sounds a little weird, but hopefully as you tune in and listen, you will get the picture. And maybe this will be something that encourages you to look back and to recognize, not just notice, but to truly recognize when God has been there in your life. Those moments, those beautiful pieces that have been woven together in your life for what you are doing now, for the plans and purposes that he has now or in the future up ahead. And so I hope you've grabbed an awesome cup of coffee and are just ready to dive into this awesome episode, because I know it's going to be good. I know that this is meant for others because of how much my faith is stirred in this. And yeah, I'm just excited. So, I guess I just wanted to start off with sharing that oh my gosh, there have been so many pieces to a puzzle, once again, that God has been just showing me. And I'm going to take it back to even just a couple years ago, but there's a lot to this, but I will try to make the pieces piece together for you as well. But a couple of years ago, I was dealing with high anxiety and fear. And actually, that went on for a couple of years. And it ended up being, I didn't know then what I know now. And that was just so much fear and anxiety that happened after grieving, after the loss of a child. And I had so much fear gripping my life that I couldn't even go to Walmart. I think I went to the store 3 times in like a year and a half. I had a hard time then going to birthdays. Going to church was really the only thing I could do, and then just be home. Trying to go to funerals or, weddings, any of that. Like, I just had such a hard time. And it was like, I remember wanting to go somewhere. I think it was a funeral at one time, and no, it was a birthday party, just for somebody who's older in our church. And I wanted to go so badly. And it literally was next door to my house. I live in our church parsonage, and I wanted to go so badly, but I felt like my feet were in cement. And I just remember just standing there in my kitchen. My feet felt so heavy. I felt like I literally could not move. And I just began to sob and to cry, because my heart wanted to be there, but there was so much fear and anxiety that was opposing, and I couldn't go. I couldn't go celebrate. I couldn't be there for them. And it was a hard season. Like I said, it went on for a couple of years. And, but God is so good, and he is so faithful, and he doesn't leave us in our anxiety and our fears and our grief and all of that. He has, sent his son to die on the cross for our freedom, for not just the freedom from our sin and to wash us clean, but freedom in our life. There should be nothing holding us back there should be nothing holding us back, but we should always have our eyes on the Lord and what God has for us. And He has freedom. There is freedom in the power of the Lord. There is freedom and there's liberty and there's justice. And anyways, so during that season, like I said, it was extremely hard, but I got to a point where the Lord just began to minister to me. And I just realized that scripture in Luke that talks about how He left the 99 for the one. Like, I'd always thought that was the sinner, that was, for those who weren't in church. And what the Lord began to speak to me is, no, that's for you. Like, I have left the 99 to come for you. And I was in church. I am a spirit-filled believer. I love the Lord. I walk with the Lord. But I was in such a dark place in my life that I never imagined I'd be there. And I have a feeling some of you watching or listening to this right now, you are in a place in your life that you never imagined you would be there. The anxieties, the fears, the questioning, and you can fill it in with your life, with what's going on. But God does not want to leave you there. That is not what He has for you. He has so much greater. He has so much beauty ahead for you. And that anxiety and that fear, that's not even of God. That's not from God. That is totally of the enemy. And I just hope that you can grab hold of that God, just keep searching Him, keep seeking Him, keep praying, keep knocking at the door. God is listening. Not a single tear has fallen to the wayside, and that He hears every bit of it. He sees every tear that is shed. He hears every prayer. And sometimes He's just asking for us to seek Him and to knock and to desire for Him to bring us out of those things. And so in that moment of realizing that God left the 99 and came for me, it was shortly after, I think it was maybe just weeks after, the breakthrough happened. The breakthrough came, and before I knew it, there was it was almost like I can see clearly again. It was like this, I felt like I was literally coming out from behind a rock. And I actually wrote a poem about that. If I can find it, I might just do another episode or post it in the description. All right, so I had no intention on sharing this, but I'm just going to read this poem, and maybe it's for somebody out there too. But the title is From Behind a Rock. It says, I see you hiding behind the rock, the boulder so large that you can't quite see around, the numbness you feel, the sinking anxiety and fear, and all of your emotions are hidden deep as a revere. You're not sure how to overcome. You're trying to reach out for help, to keep your head above the waves that want to compound yourself. Hands stretched out, you're reaching for air, trying to breathe despite all the fear. All eyes are on you, your heart is pounding fast. What are they thinking? Will I be able to last? Prayers are said, Lord, please help me with this dread. I cannot do this on my own. I need you, Lord. I need your grace to guide my step. Breakthrough is coming. His light is already there. Whatever you're feeling, God is aware. He has overcome the darkness that is drowning out your light. You may feel helpless, but help is on the way. He is fighting for your life today. Turn your eyes unto Jesus. Gaze upon Him. The price has already been paid for your healing. It can only be found in Him. Look to Him, child. He is waiting for you. Whatever and everything you are going through, God will bring you through. And so I wrote that right after I felt like I came out from behind that boulder of fear and anxiety and not being able to leave my house and not be able to do the things that I was a social butterfly before, and I found myself in a place, in a darkness that I never knew existed, that I never heard anybody talk about it or share about it. And I'm guessing other people have been through it. But I just did not expect that in my life. But God, like I said, He is so faithful and so good. And so fast forward, that was, when I wrote that was in July of that year. And fast forward to that next year during Good Friday. So this is in April. So several months later, I find myself driving at night, which I didn't like to leave the house for a long time there. I found myself driving at night to a church service in Indiana, so a different state, and all by myself, and it was over an hour away. And in that moment, I realized then just how far God had brought me, because I could never have done that, especially by myself. I could have never done that. But I knew God had a plan and a purpose in me going to the church service, a church I had never been to, but I had read a flyer and I was like, I'm going. And friends actually invited me, and they were all already there. And I think I had to work or something was going on. And so I had to leave after everyone else. And so anyways, I get there. The worship is beautiful and it's powerful. And this is what I really want to share, is this going forth. So I'm sitting there listening to the worship music, just letting it soak in. And the Lord began to just speak to my heart. And I just had a vision of a mama bird that literally had like its wing was broken. Sorry, I hope you can hear me with the mic. The wing was broken, and I just knew that the Lord was saying that was me. And I could see two babies in the nest, which represented my son Liam and then my son Levi, who had passed. And then I could see just the mama bird, just the wing, basically like healing, and the bird getting ready to take flight. And I just heard the Lord say that it's time to take flight, my daughter. It's time to soar on wings of healing. And it was just such a powerful and beautiful moment. And I actually later on, for that summer, ended up painting this. And I am not a painter. I like to do things on occasion. But anyways, so hopefully this kind of paints it. It's actually kind of glittery, but it's a mama bird. So this is representing my son Liam, and then my son Levi is the lighter one because he's, with Jesus now. But the wings of healing. And so anyways, the Lord was ministering to me, and I knew that I had heard from the Lord. And I'm telling you, if you think that you can't hear from the Lord, that is a lie of the enemy. God is always speaking. He is alive today, and He has plans and purposes for your life. And whatever you are going through, He wants to bring you out of that, to bring you forth, and to place you into the calling that He has for your life. And some of you've been in a long season. This season that I came through started 5 to 6 years ago. These pieces that I'm sharing with you started then. And you'll see, right now I'm talking about just like 2 to 3 years ago. But this has been a long season. I feel like I'm finally understanding even deeper that there's more to it, that what I understood, what I thought was deep, there's even deeper levels that the Lord has. And it's not just for me. He has it for you too. There is a deepness. There's a calling that God has for our lives. But what is holding you back? What is holding you back from what God has? Is it fear? Is it anxiety? Is it yourself? Is it family? Is it friends? Is it a job? Is it, it can be even good things. It can be Bible studies. It can be a church, but maybe God is calling you personally, into a deeper relationship with Him, into deeper things, into deeper calling over your life. You are set apart. If you are a child of God, you are set apart. But are you walking in that? Are you living in that authority that God has given you? Are you being that light for Jesus? So a couple weeks later, I think it was maybe a week or two later, if that, I ended up going to a conference, a women's conference, and there was an amazing speaker. I'd never heard of her. I know her ministry is Grace Laced. I cannot think of her name, but I follow her ministry on Instagram. Anyways, I get up to her table because she's selling all kinds of beautiful products of paintings and things that she had made. And just like that mama bird, I told you that the Lord told me it's time to take flight, and it's time to soar. So I find this on the table, and I hope you can see it. Looks like it might be reading upside down. But it's a bird, and it says free. Can you see that? It says free. And as I seen this, This little keychain, which she created, I shouldn't say little because that too is a gifting. God gave her that gifting to be able to create these things, to bless others and to minister. That keychain, which I don't even know how long ago, because she had lots of amazing things that she did with her artwork. God allowed her to create that, and it ministered to my heart because God was already speaking about a bird and about freedom and not holding back, and that there is healing. And this bird keychain is right there. And I just, it's just one of those moments when I was just in awe of God, and I just was teary-eyed, and I was like, God, I know that you are speaking to me. I know that you are covering me and watching over me and guiding me, and I see you. I know that you see me, but now, because I'm behind on the other side of that rock, I can see you. I can hear your voice clearer than ever, and I'm ready for all that you have for me. And so fast forward, and yesterday I received a gift from a friend, my friend Lauren. She went to the Ark Encounter, and she had no idea what God had been speaking to me. And she gifted me this, and it's a coffee mug. And so I was really excited, of course, as God created, I believe. But do you see that? It's got birds on it. And so it was quite incredible, because what Lauren didn't know is that this past week and a half, the Lord has been really speaking to me about Isaiah. And this is what I cannot wait to share with you. And so Isaiah, it talks about soaring on wings like eagles. And I have found myself multiple times this week, ministering to others and giving that, reciting that Bible verse, but also it's been like really stirring my heart. And so when she had shared that, it made me think of Isaiah, which I'll read here shortly. But I also shared with her things that I hold on to. So some of my biggest treasures I either keep in my computer case, which is one that my husband brought back when he went to South Africa. Our friends had gifted it to him for me. And or I put them in my Bible. So this has been in both, but I just pulled it out of my Bible. And can you see that? It's a bird. And one of the reason why this is in my Bible is because it's been a continuous reminder. So I've been holding on to this for about 2 years. So this was also just right after weeks, like maybe 3 weeks after the Lord had given me a picture of the mama bird, gotten my keychain, and then I was gifted this. And part of it, it says, "Let me see your face. Let me hear your voice. For your voice is sweet and your face is lovely. Let me hear your voice." That's when the Lord, right before all of this had begun to stir my heart, that there was something to do with voice. And I began to pray about a podcast. And so all these little pieces, I hope you're getting it, that have been woven there by the Lord are starting to make sense. And I just feel like I'm really seeing the deepness of this. I did not know how long and how deep these roots actually went. And I hope that you are seeing this and that in your own life you can recognize it. This isn't just for me. And so yesterday, as I went to go share this beautiful card, so my friend Maurice from South Africa, she has a friend that creates this. This is her ministry. And so the parts on the edge are all I had to tear them to open it up. So Maurice had no idea what was on the inside. And I hadn't read it for a little while. I've read it probably like 100 times over. But when I had received that coffee mug from Lauren yesterday, I opened it up. And here inside was Isaiah 40, verse 27 through 28. So the exact same scriptures that the Lord has been stirring my heart. And so I did not remember that that's what was in here. But it's just those little love notes, the way that God speaks to us. Are you listening? Do you have eyes to see? Can you see and hear and know what God is speaking to your life? And what I love about this is this podcast, I honestly don't know if this would have even ever been birthed if I did not go through the hardest season of my life. I heard somebody say that oftentimes our ministry, it comes out of the biggest trials in our life. What is the biggest trial of your life? What are the big things you have gone through? What are the struggles and trials? That is who you can minister to. Those are the people you can reach that nobody else can reach. Maybe it's a sickness. Maybe it's a life-altering disease. Maybe it is grief or sorrow. Maybe you've lost a job. The list goes on and on. Maybe you've been rejected by family or friends. Maybe you have church hurt. Whatever it is, there is always a plan and a purpose. Those things, though they hurt, they are not from God. They are absolutely from the enemy. But Romans 8:28, God turns things around for his good and his glory to those who are called according to his purposes. If you are a child of God, you are called. You are called to preach the gospel. You are called to share the good news. In your testimony, those trials, those struggles, they are stepping stones to bring forth what God has for your life. In the trial I went through with our youngest son battling cancer, this is the other part of it. In this little beautiful note, my little love note, the very last part of it says, I hear all your cries, none have fallen on deaf ears. I neither slumber nor sleep, I am your keeper. Trust me, even though you don't understand what is happening. Believe in my love and my wisdom for you. In due season, which I feel like I am on the verge of that due season. I can just feel it in my innermost being. I feel like this episode is just going to be a marker for me and for the ministry that the Lord has ahead. I feel like in obedience, God is birthing something so much greater than I could ever imagine. Believe in my love and in my wisdom for you. In due season, you will fully comprehend what I am establishing in your life. I am a faithful God, and my love for you endures forever. Fully comprehend. The loss of a child is hard to comprehend. The loss of a spouse or a loved one, maybe it's a grandparent, that's a lot to comprehend. And if you fill in the blanks with anything else that you have gone through in life, that's a lot to comprehend. But God has so much glory and beauty to be seen. But do you see it? Do you have eyes to see it? And I'm telling you, it is okay. It is okay to ask God to open my eyes. Lord, let me see your glory. Lord, show me what you have for me. Lord, let me see the plans and the purposes you have for my life. And I can say that if I knew everything that was ahead, I never would have stepped through that journey with my child. But I'm so thankful that God doesn't show us everything that's up ahead, because we would all be a wreck. Let's be honest. We would all be a wreck, and we would say no, thank you. We'd throw in the towel and just be done. We all go through trials and tough times, and some may seem harder than others. I don't know, because when I was going through that hard season, I remember purposefully people would not want to share with me their prayer request or what was going on, or if their child was sick, or maybe, just things that in their mind seemed simple. But for me, the Lord just quickly reminded me, no, this is their trial. This is their struggle. Yes, it looks different than yours, but this is the hardest thing they are going through. And so, child of God, there should be no judgment. You should let that thought flee. If you have gone through something, there's probably the hardest trial or season you've gone through, and maybe there's a greater one ahead than that. I would hope not for you, but it is no different than what I went through. That's just how I feel as somebody, once again, who has lost a child. Your greatest trial is no different than my greatest trial. But the difference could be, what are you doing with it? Are you still sulking? I might be saying that wrong. Sulking in grief or in sadness or anxiety. And if it's fresh, please don't, fresh grief is hard. Like that, those first weeks and months, that's not who I'm talking to. I'm talking to those who are, a little further out from that. It's okay to have moments, but it's not okay to live there. And God has, so much greater for you. And He wants to bring you out of that. He wants to burst forth something beautiful from the ashes. And I know there's scriptures about it. There's at least a couple different ones. Beauty for ashes. And anyways, so there's all of that that's happening. And so I'm going to read in Isaiah. And I hope that you really have captured or are capturing just how God can speak to us, and that God is so ready for something more for our lives. But we can hold ourselves back. We can hold ourselves back from all that God has. Maybe it's through social media. Maybe it's playing games or scrolling through videos on your phone or on YouTube. Or, there's a time and a purpose. Like, hopefully if what you're watching is uplifting. But if you are watching or listening or taking things in that aren't of God, child of God, that's not okay. If you want to go deeper with God, you have got to go deeper with Him. You've got to be willing to say, I'm going to push that away. I'm going to spend time in my word. I'm going to spend time in prayer. I'm going to spend time with the one who loves me most, the one who created me, the one who is calling me. And that's what God asks us for, just a surrendered, yielded heart and vessel. And if you are giving it all up, like I have found myself in such a season where, just not watching the TV shows and not listening to crazy things and just wanting to be in the presence of God. And I'm telling you, that's where these podcast episodes are coming from, is they're being birthed out of that. I could not do this on my own. This is not something I would have done or chosen, but this is God. And this is what obedience looks like. This is what obedience looks like. And like I said, I know that God is birthing something even greater than I could ever imagine. I believe that this episode right here that you guys are watching and witnessing is the beginning of something new. And so Isaiah 40 verse 27, it says, "Why do you say, O Jacob, and speak, O Israel, my way is hidden from the Lord, and my right is disregarded by my God? Have you not known? Have you not heard? The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He does not faint or grow weary. His understanding is unsearchable. He gives power to the faint, and to him who has no might, he increases strength." If you find yourself in a place where you are weary, where you feel faint, God is there to increase your strength. Just lean in Him, ask Him, allow Him to be that love of your life, the God of your life. Allow yourself to ask Him and to rest in that. God does, yet there are going to be moments where you feel faint, you feel exhausted. Maybe you're not sleeping well at night. Maybe there's so much going on that your mind can't turn off. God has a rest for you too. God has a hope and a future, and He has so much greater for you than the struggles and the trials, than whatever is weighing you down. And all that He's asking is just give that to Him. Lay that burden at His feet. Allow Him to let you rise up on wings like eagles. And so that goes on to say, He gives power to the faint, and to him who has no might, He increases strength. Even youths shall faint and be weary. We all see kids. Kids seem to have so much energy, so much energy. But even they shall faint and be weary. And young men shall fall exhausted. It happens. It absolutely happens. But they who wait for the Lord, have you been in a season of waiting? Have you been in a season of just like a pause on your life? And maybe you're crying out to the Lord like, God, I am tired of waiting. I'm ready for the next thing. But they who wait for the Lord, have you been patient? Have you been kind? Have you been not waiting like the McDonald's line, waiting for that rush to happen? Sometimes there is a season of waiting. And this season that I'm in now, like I said, started 5 to 6 years ago. And I'm going to tie that last piece in just a minute. But they who wait for the Lord shall renew their strength, and they shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. You shall run and not be weary. You shall walk and not faint. God has plans and purposes and grace over your life. But child of God, are you waiting for Him? Have you put your trust and your faith in Him? Whatever you are going through, whatever you have gone through, that is not all that God has. That is not your title. It doesn't matter what anybody has ever spoken over you, what false things that you have been accused of. That is not what God has for you. God is asking you to wait upon Him, upon His timing. I did not want to rush into this podcast. It actually probably took me a little too long. I felt like I pushed pause and I waited maybe too long. But God is so faithful to bring things back around into due season and to allow us to see the fullness that He has for our lives. And so the last part that I am so just blessed, that's the word I'm feeling, I'm going to share, is blessed to share with you, is I am writing a couple of books, but it's about our journey with our youngest son. And the Lord gave me the title for the first book, and about 5 to 6 years ago, we had the title for the second one. And for a few years, for about 3-4 years, I had been praying so much, Lord, how do these two books connect? Like, I know the title for the second one. I don't know what that story looks like. I don't know what thread is to be woven throughout these. And one time in prayer, I just really felt like the Lord said, Isaiah 40. But they who wait for the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. That is my after story. I was in a season of waiting for the Lord. I was in a season of waiting for the next scans, of waiting to know what was happening. Our family was in a tough, crazy season, and it was like the storm was brewing, the waves were crashing, like you almost didn't have time to think, let alone process what was happening. And that went on for months. But this next book, God has, just that healing. He has a rest. He has a rest for you. He has so much more for you. And so last week, as I was getting ready to work on that first book, trying to finish it up, I just really felt like I have the last 99 pages to edit through. But I felt like the Lord said, go back to the beginning. Read the beginning. Guys, I've read the beginning, I'm not exaggerating, probably at least a few hundred times over and over, but it's the last part of the book that I need to finish reading through. But I was obedient. I was like, hey, God, I already know that the first 100 pages, it's more than all of that, but I already knew that the first 100 pages were just set in stone. And so I was like, why do you have me reading this? Well, I had shared with you earlier on that the Lord had allowed me to minister to people, a couple people one-on-one, and then with church family, about the same scripture in Isaiah. Those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall rise up on wings like eagles. And so when I went back to the beginning, the actual part of the book, this is in the 3rd paragraph, what I'm about to read. On one particular night in prayer, the Lord asked me to raise my hands, and so I did. Then He asked me to lower them, and so I did. He asked me to raise them up again, and down they went. As I repeated the action over and over again, I began proclaiming His greatness for us. I then heard the Lord say to me, and so I want to stop right there. So in the raising up of the hands and stuff, as I was rereading this, I was thinking of a bird. I was like, Lord, like birds flap their wings and, up and down and up and down. But then the Lord said, so this is a few months before the season of our son battling cancer. I could not have seen what was up ahead, but God knows. He knows far off what we are going to be going through. He's not there to leave us, but he's there to catch us and to grace us for the season. He never promised easy, but he promised his grace would be there for you, for us. And the Lord spoke to me. He said, I will hold up your arms amongst the battle. I have never left you. I have always been right here amidst it all. I will see you through this. I will lift you up. Though the burden seems heavy, it's only for a little while. For I shall make you rise up on wings like eagles, resting under my wing. Guys, I have read this many times over. And in this moment, with, being obedient to the Lord and starting all over with the book, the Lord was allowed to minister to me and to speak to me. I could have missed this moment. And God has that for you too. What is he speaking in your life? Are you obeying? Are you listening? Are you even asking? It is so easy to ask the Father for those things that are on your heart, that are on your mind. And God was already speaking about Isaiah. And here, the tears began to flow. And I knew that this was God, that the plans and purposes, that the calling he has for my life. I know that this 5 to 6 years later, that God has a season of me rising up, and is not for my glory, but it is for his glory. And there is a season that God has for you, a season of rising up, and once again, for his glory, to glorify him. That others, it doesn't mean you have to do a podcast or write a book or, things like that, but others just even seeing your life, seeing the pit that you were in to where you are now, the rising up. Others will know that it is God. They will see and know, and they will see the light. And they will stand in awe, and they will desire that for their own life. I want to encourage you to just keep holding on, child of God. Keep proclaiming the goodness of God. Keep thanking him in all situations and all seasons. God is near the brokenhearted. God is for you and not against you. His peace is there. His grace is sufficient. His love abounds you. He is there, and he is waiting for you, and he's watching over his word, over his promises, over his calling to perform it in your life. Just say yes, be obedient. Your time of waiting, I believe, is almost over. I know for me, I know that it's right there, and I believe that that is for others too. And if you are still in that season of waiting, if you are waiting for the promises of God, hold on, child of God. It could be just around the corner. It is just around the corner. And maybe you've been in that season for years. Maybe it's just weeks or months. Whatever it is, God knows the timing. But I can tell you, my season would have been shorter. I know it would have been shorter if I would have been obedient sooner, if I would have stepped out sooner, if I would have shut off the TV sooner, if I would have gotten off social media from all the searching that I used to do sooner. God wants to fill our lives with him, not with the things of the world. And yeah, there are good TV shows. There are, good encouraging posts on Facebook. But I'm talking about those moments when you know that you should be turning it off. Turn it off. And search the Lord. Seek after his heart. And thank you so much. If you have spent this whole episode and you actually listened to all of it, I cannot tell you how much it means to me. And I hope that this encourages you as much as it has me. And just to know that it's time to soar. It's time to be free. It's time to soar to those new heights that deepness. I know that's opposite deeper and heights, but God has something higher and deeper for you. They go hand in hand. And just thank you so much for watching. If you know somebody who needs to hear this, I just ask that you would share with them. Allow them to be encouraged today, too, just like you were when you watch this. And thank you so much. If you haven't already subscribed or liked, those things actually help. And comment, those push this video even further out into the algorithm to other people that otherwise never would see. And so every time you comment, like, subscribe, share the videos that you watch from anybody who ministers to you, you are helping that channel to reach other people beyond what it is reaching. So thank you so much for listening, for watching, and until next time, God bless. All right, Lord, I thank you. Whew. You are doing it, God.